Unraveling Relative Clauses. Dive into narrative texts. Hello, English explorers. Welcome back to our series on intermediate grammar. In this video, we'll delve deeper into relative clauses, and specifically, we're going to identify and analyze them in narrative texts. So, ready to dive into the sea of grammar with us? Let's get started. Before we dive into narratives, let's quickly recap what a relative clause is. A relative clause is a type of clause that modifies a noun or pronoun in the sentence. It's introduced by a relative pronoun like who, which, that, whom, where, or whose. Here's an example. The dog that barked loudly scared the postman. In this sentence, that barked loudly is the relative clause modifying the noun, dog. Narrative texts are all about telling stories. They include novels, short stories, personal narratives, and more. In narratives, writers use relative clauses to provide extra information about the characters, settings, or events, thus making the story more engaging and vivid. Here's an example from a short story. Laura, who was always the first to wake up in her family, could hear the birds chirping outside. In this sentence, the relative clause, who was always the first to wake up in her family, gives us extra information about the character Laura. When you're reading a narrative text, spotting relative clauses can help you understand the story better. Here's a method to identify them. 1. Look for a relative pronoun. Who, which, that, whom, where, or whose. 2. Check if the part after the relative pronoun can be removed without making the sentence ungrammatical. If so, it's likely a relative clause. 3. Ensure that this part of the sentence is providing additional information about a noun or pronoun. If it does, congratulations, you found a relative clause. Remember, practice makes perfect. The more narrative texts you read, the easier it will become to identify relative clauses. That's a wrap on our lesson on identifying relative clauses in narrative texts. We hope this video helps you understand how relative clauses are used in storytelling and how to spot them in your reading. Remember, relative clauses are your friend, helping to provide additional details and making your English more fluent and nuanced. Keep practicing and happy reading.